Welcome everyone to this episode of Tea and Chi, and welcome to Snow Raven. And just for anyone who doesn't know you already, just go ahead and introduce yourself, some of your history, and also some of your mission, your purpose on Earth.
Thank you, Owen, GNT, having me um, introducing to your community. My name is Snow Raven, which in Sakha language means Suor. Suor, it's the animal, right? The raven, and it's a bird, spiritual animal of mine, which was given by a shaman woman, shamaness, 4 years ago. So it became my spiritual and stage name. And I was born and raised in a small village with 600 people in Arctic Siberia. If you ask where is that, it's near to North Pole. If you look at the map, and it's the largest area in Russia, and it's the most cold inhabited area in Russia. So we have very cold winters, which is minus 96 degree by Fahrenheit and 100 degree above during the summertime. So we live in that extreme, weather conditions.
Oh my goodness. Uh, whew, you said 96 degrees Fahrenheit below.
Below, yeah,
Oh my goodness. So
72
so
Celsius.
you must have a lot of experience with energy then as well, because I know in Tibetan culture and in some of my Mongolian ancestry, there's this meditation to activate the magical heat, they call it. So, would you mind sharing with us how, first of all, how is it to experience that level of cold? And how can you sort of transcend that and still experience joy in that cold? Because personally, if I was in that negative 96, woo, it would be intense.
Yeah, we have actually some of the interesting extreme tourists coming from all over the world, and they would like to experience that, and they go to North Pole. They go to the cold pole, which was registered as 96 degree. It called a Macan, and people were even bicycling from capital of Sakha Republic. So this is the whole area, right? Like official name of my homeland is the Republic of Sakha Yakutia, and they were bicycling to Oymakön, and it took them, like days to get there, and it was really hard and challenging. So it's pretty much survival if you have a clothes on. So there is no bad weather, there is bad clothing, let's say. And
Mm.
um, of course, all the clothing is based on animal, fur and leather. We have reindeer shoes, we have hats, so the whole face is going to be covered, and fur coat. They're very heavy, and so my whole childhood uh, was like that. Um, I really didn't like cold. And I still don't like cold. Like, if I get chill here, like I get cold here, and then my friends are like, "Oh, you're from Arctic Siberia. You probably, this cold is okay for you, and nothing for you." And like, that's the thing. I don't like cold, and I'm so reactive. So we had a bathroom outside, and in the middle of the night I had to put my pure coats on. It's layers of layers clothing, and just to pee you have to go, like, it takes you really long time, and it's outside, the toilet is outside and has a hole in it, and then like you have to make your butt naked, right? And then it's really worse when you would like to do other thing, like a poop, and it takes you a long time, and it gets really cold, and you're like, ah. So I didn't like that part. I was really suffering. And yeah, so I was born in a time when we had electricity. But imagine, my grandfather was born in a time where there was no electricity at all, and uh, they were living in a very traditional way. So the source of heating was fireplace and the cows. So they were living with cows. The cows were in a through the wall. So there was a door, and they would open that door over the night, so the heating from the cattle will go to the living space. I can imagine how hard is that, smelling all of this, the ammonium, or how you go, ammiac. Uh, yeah, breathing with that, and but they survived. Like, that's why women were giving more than 12 children, more than 10 children every time per family. So women remain they really strong. They're strong to give such amount of, like a birth. And my grandfather was one of the 7 survivors among 12 children. So yeah, I can imagine how the life was back this time. But at the time where I was born, we had electricity, and uh, you know our ground, our floor was wooden. But my grandfather's floor was not wooden, it was just dirt, you know like a soil. And they figured out how to survive. So it's very fascinating. I understand how hard it is to live in that conditions, but it makes you stronger. It's just like the whole journey, of surviving. And my people believe that everything is alive, so they're totally dependent on the power of nature. That's why they're very humble, and they listen to nature. They're very sensitive to any little changes. So, yep.
So, what kind of spirituality does your people and your ancestors practice? I know there's some influence from the surrounding countries, but I would love to get your perspective on kind of what was your spiritual upbringing and what kind of parts of Siberian spirituality would you share with the world to let them know a bit about how they can maybe integrate some of that wisdom into their own life, into their own personal spiritual beliefs?
Yeah, so thank you for asking this question. Um, Before Russians discovered us, and before our area became part of Russia, uh, it was 17th century, right? So um, we were over 30 different tribes in entire Siberia, and they're all were believing in shamanism. They're still believing in and practicing shamanism. So our spirituality is shamanism. Basically, it's a relationship between human being and nature and the universe. So believing that everything is interconnected, and there are infinite quantities of the dimensions. And basically, it's believing the whole universe has lower, middle, and the higher world.
Mm,
And so those three energies are inside of us and outside of us. And yeah, after they discovered us, there was a little bit Orthodox impact, Orthodox Christianity in 17th century, and there was impact from social Soviet Union. But people kept their traditions deep in the heart, and shamans were secretly healing people without drum and outfit, because they were not allowed to use that. But they
mm,
became like herbalists, bone adjusters, and non-surgical procedures. And they were working a lot with mental health issues. um, so the shaman was the supernatural person where the community was dependent on. And um, they were very helpful for hunters to locate the game meat. And so we still have shamanism. It's called Arayi, and it's not based on plant medicine or anything coming from outside, that
mm.
you take it in and then all of a sudden you are, in a spiritual realm. It's all about going through the suffering and pain, like living in that harsh conditions, made my people to be very open. Like they're constantly out of comfort zone. In that case, we become so sensitive, and our channels are wide open, and we can connect to interest to dimensions that are not seen to our eyes. And so that's why there were a lot of supernatural people as a shamans in my culture. Each family had a shaman member, family member. Yeah, and it's very hard to become a shaman. It's a long story. I'm really fascinated about shamanism. I study shamanism, and I have a lineage of shamans in my grandfather's side. And I know what is a traditional shamanism, and the word shaman came from Tungus people, which are our neighbors. We're genetically blended with them. They're reindeer herders and nomadic people. Saman means the person who knows. And but shamanism as an energy, it existed around the world, and it's probably was born since the first person who recognized him or herself being in interconnectivity, like recognizing that everything is uh, web of life. And so that's why there are a lot of type of shamanism, and some shamanism um, type of shamanisms, they have some master plant medicine, but we don't. But it doesn't mean that I don't respect their cultures, or some people might need, some people might not. And in my culture specifically, shamans, they fall into trance, they achieve the altered state through singing, drumming, and dancing, and playing mouth harp, for example. So, and as I said, pain and suffering is also accelerate a healing ability of person.
It's really interesting the way you brought up how both your ancestors and your present day culture depend upon the shaman. And it made me immediately think that right now, in this environmental crisis we're in this ecological crisis, we're being forced to, again, remember and to become dependent on the shaman, because they're the one connecting with the energies which are present in nature. And they, as you said, it means to know. They know what we need to do to go forward. And something that else that stuck out was the hunting part, that they needed the shaman to know where to go and where to lead the people. And these are all psychic and spiritual energetic qualities of people that are needed to help reconnect with the energies of the elements and help create little pockets of people who remember how to love and connect and care for nature. So I would love to know, how do you utilize your voice to connect to nature, and how can you utilize also your voice to be healing for yourself or for others?
So I believe that everyone can sing in own style. We came to this realm, to the physical realm, middle world. We call that middle world in shamanism. Uh, with the voice and with the singing skills already, when we cry, you know, with the birth, the first inhale and exhale comes with the crying, right? And it could be really loud. So it's where our voice comes out. And then we have elders saying, if there is some loudly crying baby, they say, "Oh, this person's gonna be a really good singer." Yeah. So the power of voice that we have, each person has, it's really incredible gift. It's a true um, guidance um, to unlock certain, you know, spots in the world and inside of our bodies that the energy can flow through. So in the Sakha traditional singing techniques, we call that kalha. All of these three worlds that I mentioned before, lower, middle, and the higher, they are all activated. Speaking about the lower world is the realm of the fear. We call that kuttal. And it's all based on the energy of our ancestry when they were hunters. So that energy sleeps deep inside of us as a primal survival, um, wild fire energy that needs to be directed, not abused, but honored and respected. Um, so our modern society is stuck in that realm, and the most of us we don't use that energy in a right purpose because we act out of anger, we get hooked up by things that we don't like, basically seeing in a person who's disagree with us as the enemy or predator, as our ancestors were. Hunters would probably face some danger, like meeting with the predators, and they're ready to run away as a self-defensing or attack back. So that's what we do with that energy. But the question is how we're going to elevate it towards the heart, which is the middle world. All the physical world we believe in the shamanism is should be based on love. Then we can survive. So taptal, it's the love, and then through the voice, it's in a transitional area. We can go to the higher world, which is around the third eye and the crown chakra. Um, we call that gratitude, machtal. So we can express ourselves in a beautiful way. And if we talk about gratitude more, if we sing about the gratitude, if we're thankful that we're alive, and so basically dreaming about beautiful future and being in the frequency of gratitude and speaking really positively charged words that brings us, elevates our energy towards the higher realms. So kuttal, root chakra, taptal, love, the chest area, and the machtal, it's the higher world. Those are should be all activated and well balanced. So voice, the kalhak technique, which is you can hear kind of yodel. So that activates my. It powered and engined by the lower world, the chakra area. So I have enormous energy, right? And then it resonates in my chest, which is middle world, and then um, you have a little bit hat, like a falsetto, like a hat sound, where I feel resonation here in my skull. So that hits all the three spots and activate all of them. That's why I usually, teach people how to open up their unique voice and weave their positively charged words into melodies, the melodies that it just comes from the heart. And yeah, so that's how I see it. That's how I, usually um, I explain about what is the message and the purpose of singing uh, in my culture, and in personally that resonates with me very much.
You for sharing that. And it's really profound because I like to look at all of the different rainbow tribe, all of the different aspects of Mother Earth's human cultures, and I like to see the similarities. And because for me, I see similarities as something that has worked, or as the Hawaiians would say, it's pono, it's good, it works. So in China, the Taoists believe that there's the three energy centers, just as you were describing. There's the lower Dantian, the middle Dantian, and the upper Dantian.
Ah.
And exactly as you were saying, how it's the middle Dantian, it's the love, it's the heart, it's the compassion, and these qualities, this joy. And then the lower Dantian is like the work and the farming and the physicality and the fear as well. And then the upper is the heavenly realms or the 10,000 infinite realms they describe. And in
Mm.
Norwegian culture as well as the tree of life goes as the same thing. The chakras in Japan, there's the Hara line, and you're going across the Hara line. And then in some of the Native American shamanism as well, there's the different worlds. There's the lower world, the middle world, the upper world, in all different ways. I see this all over. And in India, they also use mantra, in China as well. But in the same way do you describe, you're using intonation to help heal the body. And this was something that my Reiki master, who was a Dominican Republic shaman, Taino shaman, he taught me the importance of using the healing power of the voice. And I'm not an excellent singer in like mainstream terms, but utilizing that sound, like the lum, hum, ooh, allows me to. There's something about it that transforms uh, physical stuck energies into something greater, into something better, into better emotions. So that is so interesting how Siberia is literally a place where people will go, oh, it's so far away from everyone else and it's so distant, but is still practicing the same things as somebody who is in the Caribbean, in South America, in uh, North Native America, and Canada, all over. Same truth, same frequencies. Right.
Exactly. It's very important today to look at what is the similarities between us. Doesn't matter which culture where it come from, and what unites us. If we're focused on what distinguished or the different things between us, that creates separation. Enough of separation. So we really need to come together as a humanity and bring our wisdom, ancestors' wisdom, because I believe everyone in this planet Earth have a indigenous ancestor, indigenous to Mother Earth. We were all hunters. We were all in a survival mode, and because my place, my homeland is it's remote. Globalization came a little bit later, and and then there was a not that huge impact from the changes from the taking over, like colonization, because there are tribes who were completely destroyed, and our leaders, they were smart enough um, to preserve our culture by establishing the friendship. So I always bring that topic that if you you need to be smarter and wiser than the today's situation. And then if you see,
Mm.
yeah, like um majority people coming to you and invading, and with the gun and with the quantity, so that happened in 17th century. So Russians were really like a lot, right? Like there were um they could easily kill and destroy my people, but instead of that, Sakha people gave Sakha women to marry Russian person. So her name is Abakayada, and we have a square of friendship where Abakayada and so Beketov, they were together. So, and that's a symbol of friendship and collaboration that we really, really need today to not forget about that and bring that aspect. Um, so, whatever politics or economic situation is bringing us into challenging path by separating us or creating enemies, and then always there's something occurring that separates us, but we need to stay strong inside, and focusing on what does unite us is very important. So that's why in a shamanism I see a lot of similarities around the world, and then in so distant cultures, like impossibly far away from each other, but they're all saying about the same things about this. And because there's a source, fundamental source of knowledge that shamans were tapped in, they were like connected, and they would bring that knowledge to their communities as a storytelling, heroic epic. We call that Olon Kho. 3 days and 3 nights, non-stop channeling and sharing the knowledge. And yeah, so I think it's very, very important to remain in a balance, and to hold everything in wholeness. And even we go through the lower world as a shamanism, say the deep healing happens in the lower world. So
Mm.
it is really helpful for transformation. And whatever we find ourselves desperate or suffering or in the pain, it actually a lesson, and it brings, it empowers you, and then you always have a choice which direction you're gonna go to, and how what kind of action we're gonna make, you know so it's very, very important, um, to know that we have this inner shaman inside of us sleeping, and the best healer and the best teacher is us for ourselves. And the individual awakening and then collective awakening it is happening right now. And then we will slowly go to the healing process, and then after healing we're gonna go to the evolving process. So we cannot jump right now, from the awakening process to the evolving quickly, because we need to do certain things. Like we need to face, not run away from the fear and the events what were happening historically. In this case, it's between indigenous people and Western culture. So a lot of colonization and a lot of, you know, sad, horrible events happened here in the United States, for example. When I moved here 5 years ago, I learned about this culture, and indigenous people were taking care of the Mother Earth, this land, and providing stewardship, and then that changed. And so yeah, so it's a time to come together, not being stuck in a certain time frame that doesn't serve us as a humanity. We need to come together and move forward, do forgiveness.
Yeah, we've lost so much of that, and it's so strange that two of the most divided culturally places on the planet, historically and in modern times, are called the United States and the United Kingdom. There's not much unity going on nowadays, with people at home on their screens, very ego, very technological. But your culture, your people remember that unity, and especially the inclusiveness that you were describing of your singing is something so foreign to us in the Western world. Is like, if you're not singing like a rock star or an opera singer, then you should not sing. It's basically, we mock people, we bully people, we make people feel like, oh, you're not part of the tribe because of they don't fit this singing style or vibration that is culturally accepted in the mainstream. Like these really, really professional singers is like the standard for everybody's embarrassed. Even I know good singers, really talented professional singers, that that don't want to even utilize their voice because we're so uh, hypothetically, theoretically, metaphorically divided and physically divided too. We barely like embrace in the way that old tribes do. But what you were describing reminds me so much of the way the Cree Native American tribe in Canada sings. Is there's no trying to fit a certain box or idea about how you should sing. It's just all of these different voices chanting with joy and, like you said, the positively charged voice. And it's just like, it makes me feel included. And I'm not even there. I'm just listening to their art that they've created together. And for me, I don't sing like Stevie Wonder or Justin Timberlake or any of these like professional singers. So I personally still need to heal my voice. I still need to be in touch with that and be able to manifest that in other ways than talking. So what would you give for the advice of people like myself who maybe are not like a good stinger by societal standards to get into more than just talking or more than just mantra into really expressing and liberating the voice?
Yeah, so I have students, I have voice classes called Your Unique Voice. And also mimicking birds and animal sounds is also very much based on how you use your body as a tool. Mouth harp is also, a lot of muscles are involved, and palate and tongue and breath. And reindeer breath, of course, the mimicking that beautiful animal. I called it. I call it as Arctic beatbox. So it's like breath work. And so the foundation of any kind of singing or speaking, any sound coming out from our body with exhale is breath. So usually start, I encourage people with a certain techniques to have a power around your diaphragm, the sacral chakra area. So and and then belly area, that area where again the whole primal energy start, the whole you're powered and engined. So it's very important to keep that place flexible and open and powerful. And I usually give people certain breathing technique. And then after this, you know number two problem with people who are who were kind of, they they heard this celebrity singing, and then they think that there is a standard, but there is no standard, right? So that creates like a fear, like a barrier, and it's very psychological. This is number two. We need to work on our blockages and labeling ourselves that you cannot sing. So, and if you hit a high tone, for example, and um, there is a anticipation that you will not hit certain tone, and once mind is judgmental towards yourself, and then boom, all of a sudden you might be hitting that because you are working with your breath and everything, you're ready, but then just that thought can turn
Mm.
off everything, and then you just do some weird um, weird sound in your opinion. But actually it's okay to do mistakes, it's okay to sound weird, and it's, on the contrary, it's so much healing when you accept the weirdness of
Mm.
yourself, or the facing your mistakes and seeing it as a part of the cycle of life. Lower world, you can't deny lower world out of the three worlds, it is there. And um, seeing it part of the cycle of life, part of the whole balance, and a needed part of that balance is very important. Um, it's the same with the singing. A lot of psychological work usually is done with the singing, and then of course your vocal cords. It's also a muscle, right? So you need to train that too. Um, Over the time, the patience. So people wants to hit high tone quickly or sing really nice way according to the standards, but it's all about, you know, expression of yourself, um, being expressing of yourself through the voice, and kind of identifying yourself as where I am at. Am I singing out of sadness? Am I singing out of joy or happiness? Or, you know, am I singing to calm down my fire energy? So singing can be used as an identification yourself, and then you can feel that's somewhere stuck there, and then you do special techniques to open that up. So it's really beautiful teacher also to look at yourself, you know, through the singing. And also for me the highest um, state for the singing it's being able to improvise. Like you don't have to learn song and then memorize the melody and the words, the lyrics. You can easily, you know, if you went through all of these stages with working with fear and everything with breath work, then you'll be able to improvise, and whatever energy goes through your body because your channel is open in improvisation, you create that safe container for that energy, and then it flows, enters, and comes out as a singing. So you you are so free when you improvise, as you said, you know, our society in a box, so you're completely out of box. And that's one of the healing techniques, definitely, that, you know, it gives me so much joy when I see that my students, they learn how to be open and just starting freestyling and improvise, no matter what, no matter comes, no matter where weird sound comes out from the body. It's just embracing it and letting it flow through the body. So,
There's so many similarities to what you said to becoming a really proficient uh, psychic medium or channel is what I teach my students in oracle trainings and being a tool of the divine, of divination, which means to receive messages from spirit, from nature, is to not go by the cards, not go by the symbols or the what the book tells you or what somebody else told you, to really just get out of the way and channel. And I remembered one time where I felt really, really liberated with that ability in the voice was in this very special place in the northwest of France, which is still very indigenous Celtic. They still hold on to the old like wizard and witches kind of feeling, like the pre-Roman Empire feeling and culture, which is very interesting, by the way. And being in this deep uh, waterfall is kind of like cut out of this rock, and you got to go walk in this spot in this very rainy forest, old oak forest,
mm-hmm.
and I found this very beautiful spider in a really beautiful spider web right by this waterfall, and I decided to, because I speak with the animals and I speak with the nature and the mountains and the water emotionally and as a psychic, metaphysically, but I wanted to like give it a voice. I'm like, okay, I want I want what I'm feeling from this very wise creature to come through me. And
Mm-hmm.
this really, really beautiful song just came through, and I can't take any credit for it because it was the spider. It was the spirit of the spider channeling through somebody who has a human voice. And like, what a magical uh voice we have. I mean, there's other animals like wolves and red-tailed hawks and ravens that can make these voices, but humans, I mean, we could do so much with our voice, so much. And I would love to open that up from that with you, if you feel comfortable to show us a bit of that improvisation and share maybe a channeled song or sounds for us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would love to. Yeah, the key thing is the concept of the Sakha shamanism. It's being everywhere and nowhere at the same time, which means two opposite energies are always happening at the same time. So for the singing, it's important to remain centered and being really powerful and strong, have a strength in the center. And then physically, it's your diaphragm. So your diaphragm needs to have a support, right? When you say your muscles are tightened. But for the singing after that with exhale, you need to relax rest of the body so that the sound can expand. So it's expansion and tightness, contraction happening at the same time. So we can't say just be just free and relaxed, or just be strong. The both are happening at the same time. And then that's what I'm practicing lately. Like, wow, this is really makes sense because life has both sides all the time. We live in a duality, but actually seeing it, not taking only one side, right or wrong, hot or cold, white or black, or Democrats or Republicans. Just see what is behind that, what energy does unite it. And that is very important. And I would love to dedicate my um, improvisational song and playing this mouth harp for that, um, the wholeness of of the world, um, and then you can actually experience, you can hear the different frequencies, different sounds coming through, lower, middle, and the higher. Mm-hmm.
Whoa. That was an honor. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Snow.
Thank you, Owen. Thank you so, so much. Yeah, so this mouth harp, we call that homos. It's really a powerful instrument. It's very portable. You can wear it as a necklace, and wherever you are, you can pull it up and play for the trees. When you hike, I usually synchronize it with my um, walking, the steps, or I dance with that while I'm playing, or I sing, right? I do it for my performances, or I'm in the guest, as a guest at some event, I just pull it up and play. So this is truly an shamanic instrument, probably the first instrument in the world, and it exists over 100 different types of this instrument around the world, made from different materials like bamboo, bones, metal, right? So we have this is indigenous Sakha, made by blacksmith Iron Man, and this is also goes amazing with a tea ceremony that I've created. In Sakha traditions, we don't have a tea ceremony like a Chinese would, Japanese people would have, right? But I brought this tea. It's called the northernmost tea, which grows in the wilderness and harvested by indigenous Sakha people. Um, it's a Olox tea. That's one of my projects. This is gonna be um, an engine to unite people to protect the land, because the where the tea grows, it's a wilderness, and those lands are in danger right now from the mining um, of the mineral resources, or taking the lands away from the indigenous people. So we would like to launch our social token called Olox, which means the life. Oloch, Olox means the life in my native language, and so we would like to support um, local people who are harvesting this tea. And this is an amazing, it listens to your body. When you drink it in the beginning of the day, it makes you active. If you drink it towards the end of the day, it relaxes you.
Hmm.
So yeah, we're very committed to bring this interesting social talking, like gamification for young people, and then bringing education to indigenous tribes about Web3. That this is the could be a chance to have token that backed up by something else, not only Bitcoin or something, right? And but there's some physical thing behind that, and as a decentralized community, people can create that value by themselves. It's
Hmm.
not centralized and somebody's telling them, like this is supposed to be this way or that way. But I would like to serve my community, which is like over 400,000 followers, all organically grown, in the social media. Yeah, so I would like to uh, bring, I would like to connect these people with ecological projects, protecting the land of indigenous people, and would like to build this model of protecting the land on example of my culture. And yeah, bring there's an educational part of that, and also musical. So music education, Sakha tea are going to serve uh, the whole purpose, uh, how to protect the land, and the
So
social.
what kind of herbs and plants are in this Sakha tea?
We call that kuchu. It's at the northernmost tea. It's um, you know, as I told you before, the summers are really short, so
Mm.
everything needs to grow quickly, and it's so rich by nutritions, and it's very good for immune system and stomach. So
Mm.
Saka people were drinking it um, as a herb, right? Like as a medicine. So and it's a willow herb, and but it's all the herbs they um, grow in a specific area, and they absorb all of that energy. They have different spirit, depending on where does it locate. So yeah, our tea is kuchu tea coming from North Pole, and yeah, so I'm encouraging people to join our community. And social token, it's about motivating people and rewarding people for um, doing actions. It basically has a impact to earn and learn to earn concepts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my I had to ask because my friends, my herbalist friends, are gonna love that.
Mm-hmm.
And as an herbalist myself, I'm like, there's there's a special tea herb that I could get from Siberia that I've never heard of before. And
Mm-hmm.
that makes a lot of sense that it would need a lot of nutrition to grow so fast
Yeah.
in the time where it has the short period of time that it has to grow.
Yeah.
So yeah, um, I'll put a link or something down below so people can, all my herbalist friends can get some of that goodness, get some of that tea. I want to get some definitely.
Yeah, well, we're figuring out the distribution part with my team. So it's all in early stages, but before Christmas, we're going to launch the whole, social token and the whole distribution of the tea. It's going to be a very interesting ride journey.
Wonderful. And yeah, that's a good finishing note is for everyone who doesn't really understand the decentralization that Snow Raven was talking about, bringing value to other things than just money is herbs, healing herbs, food that you can grow or that you can hunt, uh,
Land.
wisdom, your experience, all of this is valuable. You're valuable. You can also create and expand that wisdom and that knowledge to be able to utilize tools given to us by nature to survive and to live in a new way, in a modern way. So, for example, I have at my disposal here in Colorado a native herb that the Native Americans used for many, many medicinal purposes called mullein. And it was actually the original smoked tobacco before. The colonists brought their own variety. But I take and harvest these herbs, dry them, utilize them as my own smoke blend, my own tea. But then I also trade with them. So I'll go and trade tea for tea and to trade stones that you can find, skills. Everybody knows about the skill. If you're watching this show, I hope you know about the skills that I offer. But yeah, you have more, so much more value. And when you see the value in nature, then you could take care of it and make more money, make more connections in just planting, just growing, especially all you out there who are in like North Carolina or South America. You have great, or Hawaii, my buddies in Hawaii. You have great fertile soil. You can grow lots of beautiful plants that You can give as gifts, you could give to yourself, you could sell them. Why not? Why not? Even if you grow little herbs in your garden or windowsill, huge, huge benefit to have that with you.
All right. Yeah, thank you so much for helping me to spread this message, and to share my culture. Thank you, Owen.
You're so welcome. Thank you so much for joining and sharing your wisdom, sharing your culture. And thank you to everyone who has joined. And make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And follow Snow Raven. She's doing really wonderful things, and she can help you to also learn to utilize your voice in a powerful way. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.